Sleuthers, today is a day if you love Hallmark mysteries or if you just love Hallmark movies, you are going to enjoy because we are talking to the one, the only, the incredible April Telek. How you doing, April?
I'm so happy to be here.
This podcast was created by fans for fans and is not affiliated with or sponsored by Hallmark or the Hallmark channel.
This is so fun.
I am so excited as well. We were talking a little before we started recording. You obviously have been in a couple movies, and you just always seem to get the roles that are just so damn memorable. So it is. I could not be more excited. This is going to be so much fun.
Aw, thanks. Yeah, I've been pretty lucky with some pretty fun stuff to play.
Well, speaking of being in a few roles, I'm looking at my IMDb, and it says you've been in 152 credits. So that's a pretty significant career there.
That's
So
152 different shows, like so that doesn't
yeah,
count episodes. Oh my
yeah,
God.
yeah. Oh, come on. You're not like looking at it every day and sort of keeping looking at someone else and keeping track, comparing.
No, I look at my daughters. I don't
Okay.
look at mine. Yeah.
All right.
My
So,
gosh.
but I have to assume based on that, you kind of like what you do. Is it fun being an actor?
It's fun being it's I feel very blessed to be in the position I'm in because my career as an actor is super fun. Um, uh, I don't think that if I had this like intense need to be a leading lady or back in the day like the ingenue and the sought after desirable one or if I needed to be like if my goal was to be number one or two or to be a movie star, yeah, it would be a really lousy career. But my happiest place in a cast list is number three, four, five, because that's usually where they bring in a little charactery stuff, and then also the weight of the project is not on my shoulders; it's on somebody else's. So yes, I have. It's very fun. It's very fun to have my career and to be an actor in my world anyway.
I hinted to this before we started recording, but I've been asking around, and it often comes up even when we're like finished an interview or something like that with other people. And literally everybody in the entire Hallmark universe that we have talked to have always said that you are just literally the most fun person in the entire Hallmark universe. So, how have you
I don't
gotten
believe that to be true, but thank you for saying
what
it, and I'm like
your
blushing.
name comes up all the time, all the time. So I want to know how have
Good.
you gotten by 152 of these acting credits and like you're not pissing people off, right? You're why does everyone like you so much?
Okay, I'm going to tell you a little story quickly. I
You
was
have all the
doing a
time in the world.
pilot. Oh, okay. Well, I think, like, I mean, um, Jackie Lind, who I worked with for years and years, still sometimes do. She's a casting director. She casts a ton of Hallmark stuff, but I mean, she's got multiple Emmys, and she's an incredible casting director. She says this all the time, but I've always said it too. Like, I've always believed it anyway, even if I didn't say the words themselves. But kindness costs nothing. Kindness is free. Um, Something that I have always believed in, and like this is from minute one, is that nothing gets done, nothing can happen by the work or of just one human, one person. And certainly when it comes to production, if that PA who's out there directing traffic isn't stopping traffic in between shots, we have to go again because of sound. If the person who is sweeping up cigarette butts, to keep the pathway clean, doesn't do that, then there's remnants along the floor, and then they want to reshoot that part of it. It's like it is every single human who's on that set matters. Their names matter. Who they are and what they do matter. And without that PA, I can't do my job successfully. And so by believing that truthfully and honestly since the very moment that I started. I guess that might be why. But okay, can I just tell a quick story?
Of course.
Two quick. So I was doing like years and years ago, I was doing a special skills background special skills extra on a show called Birdland in Vancouver. And this actor said to me at one point, I was kind of watching you, and you didn't know I was watching you, and you were like so nice and kind to everybody and helpful. And I said, yeah. He goes, oh, it was sort of different. And I was like, oh, it sat with me. It sat with me the way that like a boyfriend one time said, when you shave your legs, they're so soft, and then but you always miss your knees. Like it's that stupid thing that like, you remember, and like I still always miss my knees. But then I was doing the pilot for Millennium, and Chris Carter wrote me a note and said, who are you? Because honestly, you are you're very nice and kind to everybody. And again, that was that thing. And once somebody says it to you, boy, oh boy, do you make sure that you do it, or that you're conscious of it. And it's not fake and it's not phony. I'm not going to lie. There have been times in my life where I was not necessarily at my best. I was, struggling with certain things, and I was not always as kind or as good as I wanted to be, and I had some embarrassing moments. But I have now made a very conscious choice to become part of the solution, never part of the problem. So I will do everything I can always, in every way, on every show, to be part of the solution, to try and help make the day. I have a problem staying in my own lane. Like sometimes I want to go, well, we could just make it like a oneer if we do. And I'm like, April, shush, zip it. And my friend Dimitri said to me once, April, here's one thing you need to learn and remember. And I have, and it changed my life, Eric. So you may want to write this down, but you're recording it, so we're probably okay. And it's not the exact quote of the original saying, but he said, remember this, April, when you want to get out of your lane, because I always do, Hungarian chica that I am, he says, say to yourself, does this need to be said? Does this need to be said right now? And does this need to be said right now by me? Because I am the advocate. I take it upon myself to be the voice of every background actor who's not being treated with respect, or the craft service person who is treating, the PA not so kindly, or the makeup artist who's being sort of rough on somebody. I will always advocate for others. I just have to now, since he told me this saying, does it need to be said? Does it need to be said right now? And does it need to be said right now by me? I think about that. And very often it doesn't need to be said right now by me.
That's very good
Usually
advice.
gets said anyway, but I get to step away from it for a moment, which then gives me the opportunity to say it in a kinder, softer, gentler way.
Is there, like I said, go back to the 152 credits. Is there anyone you've worked with who you literally have just been in awe? Like, I am standing 5 feet away from this person.
Al Pacino.
I've heard of him, I think.
Maybe once or twice. He's got a credit or two. Maybe an Oscar. Yeah. Henry Winkler and John Ritter.
What were you with Henry Winkler?
I worked with both of them on, I worked with Henry 3 times, I think, but I worked with Henry and John Ritter together on a pilot. They did a 3-part pilot called Dead Man's Gun. And Henry, it was a Western anthology series with Chris Christopherson being the voice over through the series. And I actually ended up doing a movie with Chris Christopherson also. So that was really kind of like a fun little, circle back to things. But Henry Winkler and John Ritter were the two most, that was when I was, I think, most awestruck and most impressed by, they always say, be careful, you don't want to meet your idols, or you don't want to, you want to meet sadly you can only meet one, but boy, oh boy, oh boy. Incredible. Henry Winkler actually wrote me a letter for immigration to the US as a recommendation. But yeah, because you need those sorts of letters to get your O1 visa, or, if you're applying
getting
for
a letter from the Fonz is pretty powerful, right?
I know, that's pretty, and yeah, it spoke volumes. They were incredible humans, and fun co-stars, and to be in their presence, like, you grow just by being around them.
Well, to get ready for this, I went ahead and I watched Date My Dad, and you're an episode of that with Raquel Welch,
a couple episodes.
who she's a little bit famous too. Global icon right there,
Sex
and
symbol, like she is the epitome of woman,
with
like a female, of owning your femalehood, your womanhood. She is, yeah, she's everything. Yes. Okay. So, and yes.
is that just like mind-boggling as
Okay.
well?
So I'm
Because
going to
like
say
Henry
something.
Winkler's big, John Ritter's big, but this is like global.
Okay. I worked with Tony Curtis.
That's up there as well. Al Pacino. I didn't know you did Al Pacino. Yeah, he's up there too.
And my
But I
daughter
don't
worked
see
with
many
Ellen
posters
Burstyn.
of them like all around, and Shawshank Redemption kind of thing. So, but it's
Well, I've been pretty blessed with some of the people that I've gotten to work with, but and Felicity Huffman and William H. Macy, they're epic humans, like such good people, which is weird because of the controversy stuff, but
right.
they such good humans. But um,
Well, going there,
I
you did
wanna-
Lori Loughlin too.
yeah. I was there on set when stuff broke.
Oh,
Yeah, I can tell you a
that's
story
a
about that.
that's a whole other story.
Um, totally different, but um, you know, these they're all just human people. They're just all normal people who just want to be actually treated. Some of them, most of them, want to be treated like everybody else. Some of them want to be treated like they're royalty. um, but it's yeah. Oh, Raquel Welch, what I wanted to say about her. Sorry, I'm so scattered because I go off on tangents because I get excited about
That
things,
makes
and
it
I'm
fun.
sorry. Well, it makes it long.
Mm.
Um, um, she was quite feared on set, and people warned me about her. And I was like, okay. Well, I've had that warning about some of the biggest, like the most, apparently misogynistic, macho, sort of piggish kind of guys in the business. And I've never had issues because I think I go in treating them like they're my peer rather than treating them fearfully or treating them, in any other sort of, like I don't paint them with any other kind of brush. And I've never really had issues with people in film and TV. But with Raquel, I thought, oh, I'm just gonna be me. And people probably don't treat her like she's a peer. She might want this, and oh, you're doing her hair just like mine. Oh. And I went, you know what? And I heard it, and I turned to her and I went, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't have my hair like yours. It's not like I'm emulating your character because I wouldn't even know who you were. Yeah, it's a really bad character choice for me to have the same hair as you because if I was somebody who was trying to emulate you or trying to be like you, yes, definitely. She goes, yes, good point, darling. And I went, so let's not. And so I just made that choice. I made her know that I respected her, that I had character thoughts, like, about my own character and choices regarding that. And I didn't bow down. Like, it wasn't like I was going, oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry. It was, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't have the same hair as you.
You shared some of the biggest names in Hollywood and everything like that. How about let's get to the Hallmark universe here. And
Okay.
who are your Hallmark BFFs? Because you're sort of like that clique of, like you were
Oh, I've
saying.
got lots. I love my Hallmarkies. Well, Ashley Williams, I gotta say, she has my heart and soul forever. And she and I we haven't worked together on Hallmark. She and I co-starred in a movie. Well, I was a tiny part, but she was the lead in a movie that we were filming in Halifax. And then she came to Vancouver and she was directing her first movie, and I got cast in it. And then she brought me to the Brad Paisley concert, VIP. It was so fun.
How'd she get
But
in that,
she
I
and I,
wonder?
what?
I wonder how she got in that.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, she
Yeah.
must know
She
somebody.
must
Um,
Ticketmaster bought some tickets.
mhm. But I love Ashley. She's got my heart forever. And Nikki Deloche. That might be the best human ever on the face of the planet. Like, she does more good for more people and organizations than anybody I've ever known. And her and Ashley have they fight Alzheimer's, and they do so much good. But I mean, like, I've known I mean, Peter Benson since like, forever and ever. And Danica McKellar, I've done a few shows with her. I love her. Um, um, God, I have so many. I I feel like it's such an idiot right now, but I should have like a list of people in front of me. But like I've had so many beautiful opportunities to work with really good people. God,
But who are you getting Sunday brunch with?
well, I had it a couple weeks ago with Constance Zimmer. She's not Hallmark, but she's pretty great. She's fun. Um, yeah, it would be Nikki. Nikki was doing a show here, and we went for brunch actually. Yeah, Floyd's.
She's been super
Um,
kind to us. So
she is
we
the
love Nikki.
best. She's the best. Like honestly, she's the best human I know. In my world, she's the best human I know. I needed some help for something, and she was like, "Let me talk to Ryan," because it was a sort of an entertainment lawyer thing, and she's just the best. Um, and then there's like the Crystal Lowe's, and I mean, you know Crystal as an actress, of course,
Right.
but then she's directing now so much, and
We had her on
she's
as a
just wonderful.
director, not as an actor.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's nice.
She
Yeah, there are just so many. And so yeah, Nikki and Ashley, lots of time with her. Um, and Danica, lots of time with her.
Well, one of the things I like doing is having fun, and especially someone with you with such a big roster of characters, is go back and see how well you remember some of the different roles you played. Now, your first role, according to IMDb, was in Deadlock: Escape from Zone 14.
Oh my
Do
God,
you remember
yes.
who your character was?
Oh yeah, I was a singer. I sang Happy Birthday.
Blonde singer, to be exact,
Yeah,
was
yeah.
your credit. You were in three garage sales, so who was the first character though? Because you're in the original garage sale mysteries.
The, the Peter directed, Peter DeLuise.
I don't know who directed it. Maybe
I think I was just a shopper or something at a garage sale.
you were a
Is that
garage
correct?
sale lady.
Boom!
Okay. Now,
Yeah, that was the first one. Yes, and yes, I remember.
your first Hallmark movie, I believe, was How to Fall in Love. Brooke
Nope.
Diorce. No, you were in one before that one?
Yeah, and that was with Eric. Maybe it's two. No, I was in a show called His and Her Christmas,
Oh,
and that was David Sutcliffe and Dina Myers, from Starship Troopers. And she and I became really good friends too. But that was on Hallmark for years and years. His and Her
okay.
Christmas.
Well, I
Yeah,
have then. Who's your character in How to Fall in Love? Your second Hallmark then.
I was the therapist. The
I need your
love.
name.
Oh, geez, I don't know. That was Annie Carlucci was the producer of that, I believe, and I just love her so
Meredith.
much. Meredith, that was my name.
Yep.
Meredith.
Meredith.
Huh,
Okay,
I don't
here's a
remember.
1,000 points. Okay, because we're keeping score. You were in Behind the Camera, an unauthorized biography of Mork and Mindy. Who was your character in
Oh,
that one?
wait, Mork and Mindy. Oh, oh yeah, I know. I was Kathy Everlyn Smith, Kathy something, the one who gave John Belushi the fatal speedball.
Oh, that was part of the unauthorized biography of Mork and Mindy.
Hmm.
Wow. I
Neil,
just, I
sorry, go
just,
ahead.
I just have it as Woman in Bungalow 5 at Chateau Marmont, which I guess
Marmont.
is, yeah, which is where he died, right?
I think it was Bungalow 6, but it was Neil Fernley directed it. And Tyler Labine played Belushi. And can I tell you a quick
Sure.
story?
We love his
Okay.
stories.
Okay. So it's funny because I'm playing this whatever Smith. Um, she and Robin Williams and Belushi were hanging out in Bungalow 6, I think, at the Chateau Marmont for days. And I didn't know, like, I didn't know that world of like, cocaine and, drugs and that kind of thing. And it was very foreign to me, but I was so thrilled when I got the part. I went to my costume fitting, and my costume fitting was about 4 days, I think, before we went to camera. Um, and so I did my fitting and I wore the clothes, and then I said, okay, are you guys happy with this? Could you send to get approval? And they went, okay. So they get approval on the outfit, and I go, can I wear these home? Do you mind? And they went, why? And I said, because I don't know this world. And so I need all the help I can. And I am not a method actor, but I also needed a lot of help to try and figure out what you smell like, what you like. That all helps, right? Inform you for character. And so I wore those clothes home. I had my face painted the way I did for my fitting. And I didn't wash my face, didn't wash my hair, and didn't change my clothes until I showed up on set 3 or 4 days later. And thank God it wasn't one of those costume fittings where it was like 2 weeks before, because I would have stunk. But I showed up 3 or 4 days later, and turns out Tyler Labine, you know who he is?
Nope.
He's a really great actor. He was on Elementary, but he's a great comedian. He was in the one about the devil. I don't know. I can't remember. Whatever. Anyway, Reaper. But we have the same birthday. He did the same damn thing. He
Oh,
wore his clothes home from his costume fitting. We didn't talk to each other. We didn't discuss this at all, but we both showed up on set, both telling each other the same darn story. And we share the same birthday. So that's kind of fun.
which is coming up, by the way. Happy
It
early
is.
birthday.
Thanks.
Okay. So you were been in, like I say, started out as blonde singer and went through a couple other roles and all that. At what point did you realize, like, not only can I be an actor, I can actually make a living doing this?
The first year that I made quite a bit of money was like 1996.
Like
I did.
how long is that? When did you start? Like, is that a couple
Oh,
years?
I think my first I started like getting speaking parts in 93 or 94.
That's like,
94.
so you had about a couple years.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I had done stuff as a teenager and as a kid, but like it didn't count, it didn't matter. So then, yeah, it was 93 or 94. I did some stuff, and then 96, I got like the Millennium Pilot and an episode of Outer Limits, and um, uh, I did like a movie. I worked quite a bit in 96. I think I did Sliders, and I did, a bunch of stuff. And I made quite a bit of money that year, and certainly a lot of money for this Vancouver actors. Like, it was good. So that's when I started to go, oh, and Dead Man's Gun and that kind of stuff. And so I went, oh, okay, I think I can do this. And I have had the most beautiful career because I have a really gorgeous, lovely life. And I've never really, like in adulthood, had I've never been a waitress or a barista. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but it's the typical jobs for
Right.
most actors. I've never had to, I don't mean had to, but I've never done those things because I was never in a position where I could do it. I've always been sort of employed. Even when there's dry spells, something happens and God blesses me and I get work.
I keep going back to it, but the 152 credits, right? So you've probably auditioned at least 153 times. I'm guessing you didn't get one role. But do you have any like funny, crazy audition stories from this long career?
Do you have 6 hours? I mean, like, um, actually, when I booked Sliders, do you remember that show?
I didn't see
Jerry
it.
O'Connell. How old are you? Doesn't matter. I'm
Older than
teasing
you.
I doubt it. But it really,
Yeah.
it was a very successful show. But anyway, I was in okay, I have a good one. So that one, it was funny because the casting director said, see, I told you she couldn't do it. Now this casting director is no longer in the business. But I was like, what?
Like
I'm right here.
right in front of your face.
I literally went, I am right here. I heard that. And the director went, could you step out, please? And I think because he was so embarrassed, I got the part. Who cares? I don't care how I got it, as long as I do my
Check's
job
a
well.
check.
I mean, I obviously always want to, like, if I do a show, I don't care if I'm first choice or second choice or fourth choice, that they went down the list and then they couldn't get their first three. I don't care, because I want to prove to them at the end of the day that I should have been their first choice. Right. So it doesn't matter to me. But one thing was funny where I went in for an audition for a TV series. Well, I have a couple actually, but TV series called The Immortal. And the camera, they could not keep the camera rolling. Not for anything. I would get like to the third to last line in the scene, in this really dramatic scene of the pilot, and it would conk out, or the light would blow, or it was like there was some supernatural thing happening. There was some force in that room, because it was an hour and 20 minutes later when I finally walked out of that room.
Are other people in the
After,
lobby waiting to come after you?
yeah, dying. The casting director had to go out there like 4 times and say, we're so sorry, we're having technical issues. Fortunately, I was near the end of the day, so there were only a couple of people after me, but my goodness, those poor girls had to wait. And I think because of that experience and having the creatives in the room, they got to know me. And it was like the universe conspired to help me get that part, because then the next day I found out I got a screen test. So I went to LA and I did the test, and then I got the series. But it was, I swear to you, it was mainly because of all the technical issues, the lights blowing, the light bulb literally popping, blowing, glass, and the camera not working, the battery dying, and everything. They saw how I handled the
Yeah, how did
situation
you
under
handle
camera.
that? Because that seems like it throw a lot of people off.
It would, and I think it would have thrown me off too. But by episode 6 of like, this happened, and then you're just like, okay, so this is clearly not going to be mine, because I'm not even getting to finish the scene. But what are you doing this weekend? You should go fishing, because you know what? There's again, I was just like having real conversations with people, and so I think that they went, oh, we're pre-sold in syndication for like 22, 26 episodes. We could work with her for a while, and I think that that's the reason I got it. So it was like the universe conspired to help me get it.
Whatever it takes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Was
It's
there
fun.
one role though that you went up for that you just like, oh, this is the I want this so bad, and didn't get it? I
No.
have good questions later. I know like I said, you got 152 out of the 153. So
No, there's not one role that I went up for that I wanted and that I didn't get. There's 155 roles that I went up for that I didn't get.
those
White
are
Oleander, the Renee Zellweger
yeah,
role,
yeah.
I came pretty close. And then I don't know. I mean, she was probably already attached, but they still cast, like they still had casting, and I got pretty far. And also shipping news. Playing Bunny, I got pretty far, but I'm sure that they already had Kate attached. I'm sure they had her. But to even be in that, like considered to be, oh God, that sounds so snotty. And it's not meant to be that way. It's like I was auditioning. I didn't know who was attached or who ultimately would play the role. I was just like honored to like see that it was her, and went, oh my gosh. I had like 5 interviews for that. Oh my gosh. Those kinds of things. Yeah.
Has it
So,
changed much
yeah.
for you since COVID and going into this now where you're filming from home? And I guess you don't have technical issues to get you the roles anymore, right? If you have camera stuff, that's on you.
It's a
Charge
funny thing
charge
though, because,
charge the camera.
well, I mean, it's a funny thing though, because for me, I won in the room. I may not be the most brilliant actor, but I am easy to work with. So I think that people can feel that in the room, or they might want to, like, they go, oh yeah, we could work with her for 4 weeks or whatever. That's when I won. There were stronger actors for sure, but I would do okay that way. And so when it went to self-tape, that put a little, glitch in my swing for sure, because I felt like, oh no, how do I win now? But from the very first audition that I did on tape, and same as my daughter Ava, we decided that we were going to not do the 14 takes and then send it off kind of audition. We prepped everything as if we were going into the room because we thought, well, maybe, we didn't know what COVID was going to be like. We didn't know how long it was going to be. And then once we got into it, we realized we're never going back into the room full stop, like full blown into the rooms again. But we were prepared to do it if we needed to. So it was one of those situations where if we booked a part from tape, we were confident going to work knowing that we had done our job, we created this, whoever we were, depicting or putting onto our audition tapes. And they were getting that. There were lots of people who it would be like take 31. And then they get to set and they can't replicate it. They were new. Like it was COVID, and the self-tape process has really given a whole lot of people who didn't have a lot of opportunity before opportunity. So, people who couldn't get in for an audition because an audition space requires a camera person, a reader, the location, like all of these different things, right? Camera operator. And so they would see maybe 10, 15, 20 people for parts. Well, if it comes to self-tape, it costs casting far less. There's no reader, there's no camera person, there's no renting the location and all of that for the auditions. So they could see 40. So people got opportunities that they weren't getting before. And that was great. However, I was on set enough times through COVID, and since, where the directors would be like, oh my God, if only they would do a callback, like let us do a Zoom callback or something so that we could see that they could actually do it. Because you didn't know whether they were sending in tape 32 or tape 2. It's
So
a
when
real
you send
thing.
it in, you would get a cast without actually having that one-on-one conversations. They would say, okay, you're in or you're out.
Oh yeah, almost everything has
Oh.
been cast off tape. My daughter.
Yeah, I assume like they would look after they looked at your audition, then would have it some sort of conversation like we're having to run through or anything. But no, huh? It's just
Not
what you get on that tape.
mostly no. Nope, mostly not. Yeah,
Wow. Learn
I
something new
know.
every day.
It's so weird too to be like, how did I just book a whole month of work off of like a 3-page scene? Don't know how that happened. Like, yeah, it's nuts. But my daughter can I say something? Can I have a
Of
proud
course.
brag moment?
Darn
Okay, so
right, be
my
proud.
daughter, what?
So darn right you should be proud.
I'm still proud. My daughter's super talented actress, Ava Telek, Ava Marie Telek. She was in Florida just recently and like a spring break sort of vacation. And I coached her via WhatsApp and for she had 5 auditions in this one week in her hotel room. Her girlfriend was with her, so that her friend was with her, and so they taped each other for their various
Wait, she's
auditions.
taping auditions while on spring break.
Of
That's
course.
awesome.
But I was giving her a heck every day going, Ava, what is wrong with you? Why didn't you bring a tripod? You could put your, and she's like dangling it on books and whatever. But like for like series leads, like number one, number 2, and then all of these big auditions. So I'm like coaching her through like online and Zoom and whatever, and sends these tapes off. Well, one of them was number 1 in a TV series, and she tested for it. Boom. Tested on Zoom, which is not the same thing as being like, in person or doing it with a room or a network or whatever, or studio. And then another one, she was, they were negotiating. And then this third one came up, 3 out of 5, right? This is the third one. She got an in-person callback for it in Vancouver. She went in to the in-person callback in Vancouver. It was a recurring role. So, just recurring, playing the kid of, 2 of the regular cast members. It's a big show. It's the show that everybody wanted to be on this year so far. It is an incredible showrunner, and it's a really great cast, and it's incredible writing. Her role, small, little, pop in, pop out.
There is no small role.
No, there's not. I have really good stories about that. But pop in, pop out. She does her in-person callback with the director, the creative director, who then the next day they call her agent, say she's gone to network for approval for this recurring role. Great. next day. So cancel that. She's no longer at network for approval. Oh, instead, business affairs will be reaching out. Business affairs is always above the line. So it's like casting directors now don't even have a say in this. It's the lawyers. What? Whatever she did in that room in person, that's where we win. In person, they decided that they wanted to write for her and make it a series regular. And she just yesterday we found out that she booked the series.
Wow, that's
Series
awesome.
regular. It's epic. Eric, I can't I mean if I could tell you what it was, you'll find out. It's on Deadline. It'll be on Deadline tomorrow, I think, or the next day. Like someday this week.
Well, we're not
It's
we're not airing until Thursday or whatever next week, so
I'm not telling you anyway.
but that's fine. Well, let's forget about the roles you didn't get. Let's talk about one you did get. You were in,
Okay.
well, it wasn't the first. It was definitely early on in the Hallmark days. You were in Love at the Thanksgiving Day Parade, which is one of the most
Autumn.
underappreciated Hallmark movies. Do you, of course you do because you were in it, but don't you think it should be aired every Canadian and American Thanksgiving? I don't know why they don't air it on
It
Thanksgiving.
is. It is.
No, they don't. They will run some other thing. They rarely ever air it on
I
Thanksgiving.
also did one called Growing the Big One with Shannon Doherty, which is a Thanksgiving Hallmark movie with Eric with Shannon
Wait,
Doherty
Hallmark
and
did a movie called Growing the
called
Big
Growing
One.
the Big One. No joke. Shannon Doherty and Kevin Smith and Aaron Pearl, and it was great. It was so much fun. But Growing the Big One. That's the
All
real
right.
title still. But Thanksgiving, I love it. Autumn Research, I love her. She's a good friend of mine. I love her. I can't believe I didn't bring her up earlier. She is a great human. And Antonio Cupo, love. And Ali Liebert, love. They are some of the best people I know. That's a good movie. And Ron Oliver, he has my heart and he always will. I love him. I've known him for years and years, way before I worked with him on this movie. Um, that was an epic experience. I loved shooting that movie.
I just
I
don't
loved
know
my character.
why it's not on everyone's favorite list. It is such a cute, good
It's the
movie.
best. It's such a cute movie. It is such a cute movie. I don't know why it's not. I don't know why it's not, because it really is cute. I love that movie.
And it was
Yeah.
back before Hallmark was Hallmark. And I don't want to say, there's definitely a formula, regardless of whatever. And so when you go back to these old ones, I think it was like 2012, maybe somewhere around there. But there was definitely more creative variation in how they approached them. And like, it's still, yes, it's a rom-com, but it's just cute.
Was it that far back? Like, do you think it was that far back? Because, God, I had already known Ron for that many years then. Because I met him in like 98 or 99
That's
on
just
Hollywood Off Ramp. I loved that movie. I forgot about
2012.
that. Oh, you are good, Eric. Okay.
Well, you just said him. I was going to ask, what director, since you've worked with a lot of them, who's the best director on set that you've worked with, who just gives you the freedom, is fun, and everything? I'm not saying anyone who's bad, but who's great.
No. I mean, I've been very blessed with lots. But Ron Oliver he's forever daddy, forever daddy. But I did a TV series with him too that he also was one of the writers for. So like I have a very strong base. I had a very strong base with him before we ever shot a Hallmark together. He's special. He's a special human. And Peter Benson is lovely, like so good and easy and kind and gives great direction um, um, there are so many. Jason work is so great, and Jeff, of course, Beasley, he's so great. Um,
But
Ellie Canner, who did Love and Sunshine.
if you had to pick
So
one
and Carrie
director,
Ingram. And
who's going to do the rest of your career, it's going to be Ron.
If that's the only one I could work with
You can
forever.
you only get one director for the rest of your career.
Yeah, of course, because he comes with music and He comes with brunch and darling, and champagne lunches, of course.
We
It's
had we
good
had him
advice for
on we
people.
had him on early on the podcast, and the dude he's fascinating, just
He's the best.
fascinating.
He's the best. But this is like he is a real, true, beautiful souled human who, this playful oh darling, oh yes, dear, spelled DEER instead of DEAR, and he and I so sarcastic with each other, which is really truly the lowest form of humor, but it's he is the wittiest, most sarcastic and nasty human on earth, who is the sweetest human I've ever known. He will come up to me. I lost some people in my life, and he came, and it was a casting session. He came up and he just hugged me and he went, "I'm so sorry, and I love you." And that was it. And like rather than making it a thing or addressing it in front of anybody else, it was just quiet. And yeah, he's a special person. That man, I love him.
You've been in.
Also, he can shoot an 11-page day in 10 hours or 9 hours.
I guess there's that.
Yeah.
Like, you've been in 3 different garage sale mysteries. We talked about you're in the very first one.
Yeah.
But then you were in Murder Most Medieval,
sure.
as well
yeah.
as Seeked and Searched and Seeked, whatever the last
was that,
Seeked and Seized. That's it. Which was the last
is
one.
that what it was?
So the what?
With the when I wore the fedora, that was that
Yes.
one? Oh, I didn't know that was the title.
So it's kind of interesting for you to be in multiple of the same series, but you weren't a reoccurring role. You
No.
were 3 different characters, and each one actually builded up to being a bigger character, from garage sale lady to essentially. Well, I don't think you weren't the killer, but you were the accomplice, and Olivia definitely had a lot going on in that movie.
I was definitely the red herring, for sure,
Yeah.
in the last one, I think. Yeah, no,
Well, you were
I
involved.
had
You're an
lots.
accomplice, but then they knocked you off. So
Yeah, that's right. Um, my daughter had just also, like, in between, I guess, the last 2 Hallmarks, my daughter shot a movie in Montreal. Oh, she did, what's it called? The poster's up there. North Pole, Open for Christmas with Lori for like 5 weeks in Montreal. So that was kind of a fun experience too, and with Bailey Madison also,
okay.
and Dermot Mulroney. So we did that. They did that movie together in Montreal for 5 weeks. So it was kind of nice to get to play in that world with Lori, and then go back and work with her. So yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Well, the other thing, not only were you in 3 different roles, but you were with is it Ben Wilkerson, I think? Or Benjamin Wilkerson.
Yep.
And he was 2 different roles. He was your husband, and then he was your accomplice. Were you guys like sort of just joking around? Do you like know him and everything like that too, or was it just a coincidence?
It's weird. No, it's weird because in I don't know why, but I think that there are people who pair well together. Like Lachlan Monroe and I pair well together. He and I have done, oh my God, I don't know how many shows, but it used to be.
Well, I'm joking about your 152. He's probably in like 752. He is.
Oh yeah, I mean he's
got a
all the
long
time.
list.
But he and I have been paired together so many times, in every kind of different relationship. Steve Basic and I used to be paired together all the time. There's a guy named Colin Cunningham. I don't know if you, but he and I. So, and then I worked with like Peter Benson on multiple. Like it's a weird thing that like there's certain groups pairings that are used multiple times over and over, and yeah, so Ben, I don't think we actually had many. I don't know if we had even any scenes together, but I think that our characters were together in those shows.
Well, you definitely did when he was, because he was your accomplice and pretty much saying he's going to kill you, but in Searched and Seized. But yeah, the first one he was knocked off, and so he was your dead.
Oh, that's
dead
right. I
husband.
was his wife, right?
So you said, so you're you've been the red herring, you've been the victim, you've been the actual murderer. Is there like one of those type of roles that for you is just the most fun to play?
Oh, I think being the red herring is probably the most fun because I think that there's a real fun responsibility to play the role so that the audience, like you keep the audience captivated and engaged throughout, but then you go, if you like enough so that people would believe that you did it, but then when you didn't, oh, I know. So she was actually, when she was saying this, she was saying that. It's also fun being the killer and not playing it because you want to be able to roll back and go, oh, there. Okay, so there was there was the tiniest little twinkle, or there was the, you know what I mean? Like, um, yeah, those are the most fun. Being the victim is,
Yeah,
that was
getting
my whole first 10 years of my career.
the shortest when you're doing your, like you say, your day rate, your shortest paycheck too. So
Yep.
the you brought it up in Search and Seized. You wore that fedora, which was so critical to the character. I have to ask now, was that one of the things you brought from your home wardrobe, and you just brought it on set and said, "No, I'm wearing my fedora because when you and I hang out there, that's what you'd be wearing on a daily basis."
Well, I actually would be. Actually, Eric, when you come up here to Victoria, I'm going to wear mine. But
Okay.
mine's bluish, dark blue. No, that was Geraldine. That was entirely her. She just is so good at her job. And and she had to work hard to get it approved because they do not like hats. They didn't like there were a lot of
Well, that
things
was
that they.
that was old Hallmark, where yeah, very very strict rules on everything.
Oh yeah, so much. So yeah, it was a lot. But yeah, she had to fight for that. But she was right, 100%. That was one of my favorite looks I've ever gotten to play with on a show. I love
Uh,
that look.
it was fantastic. Yes, it
Yeah,
was. It just made the character, and once again, just it shows how much wardrobe can impact a character.
wardrobe is hugely impactful. My daughter, she's leaving to go to film or like to start prep for this series tomorrow, and currently she's like, I said to her, while I'm doing this, you be thinking about like put together a board of looks and of character choices. And it doesn't mean you have to be married to them, but you have to come in there with something because, you know, it's super important to have that collaborative part of the process. Like you have to own and take ownership over your character that you're bringing to life, right? Like you have to. So yeah, that part of the business is really fun.
You're saying before you brought up how you've been with Peter and Lachlan and those guys, but seems like Maddie Pinocchio, or however,
I
not
know
Pinocchio,
you.
but him and Nelson Wong, you seem like you're in a zillion movies with the two of
Brazilian.
those
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So
Oh, and
you
Maddie and
guys,
I, all different genres, right?
right?
Like everything from like indie to Hallmark to Lifetime to right now, about to come out is Final Destination 6, Bloodlines.
Oh, that's your little
Um,
blanket that you're sitting on.
I moved it because I didn't want to
Okay.
be like, oh, it's sitting here advertising. Not. It had the second most views in horror history in a 24-hour period. Like 178.5 million views for the trailer when it got released in 24 hours. That's insane. It's going to be big. It's in IMAX theaters.
Oh, yeah, my spell check changed him to Pinocchio, from the P to an F, or
You
the
know who
F to P.
his uncle is, right? Martin Short.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you
No,
didn't know
I
that?
did not. No, there you go.
Yeah, Maddie.
Fun fact.
Fun fact, Maddie's uncle is Martin Short.
Well, we talked about the fedora, but you do have a couple other characters that are just fantastic. And Cut Color Murder, we got to talk about Olivia, and that you were the murder, you weren't the red herring, but that had to be a blast, just playing that character because you were so in the best way over the top.
Thanks. Um, it's a fine line that I have to teeter on because you always want to be truthful, but April, I am over the top. Like I walk through the world, I'm a lot. Like I'm always joking that I'm a lot of moving parts. Like I'm just a lot of moving parts, but I am like I'm just an over the top kind of human. So sometimes I really work to bring it down, and if I'm, doing something, you have to consider the genre, you have to consider the project, and the platform that it's going to air on. That one, Ryan and Stacy gave me some, and Kevin, like all the producers, they gave me some room to play, and gave me a little bit of. They were like, you can go have a little more fun with it, like go a little bigger, and so when you're given that, Rich Ron often does. It's really fun. Yeah, that was great. That was really fun. That was a very surprising little gift. It was not something that I hadn't even originally read for it. And then
Wait, and then
it
how did
landed.
they just said,
It
we
No,
need
it's
you?
complicated. It was I did not read for it, but um somehow I had I was involved in a Zoom and blah blah blah, and yeah, and the creatives went, wait a second, she might be really right for this. And then it happened. I was very blessed because it was very big surprise.
Like I say, it's funny how you say you're a lot and sometimes you have to do it. One of the things we talk about is the best performances are the one that go right to that edge, but then
Yeah.
don't go, right? And unfortunately, sometimes you just go a little too much and it goes from being either comical or like say that like fun quirkiness to just being too much.
Unbelievable. Like,
And
yeah, not
that's the
believable
thing is
or
you
yeah.
you got right on it and you just stayed right on the right side.
Oh,
So
thanks. Thanks.
tremendous. And I think that was one of the things that made that movie, which everybody on this planet is like, how is there not now? You obviously are in jail, so you couldn't do anything anyhow. But like, how there hasn't been a follow up to that one is just the things we don't understand.
I know. I think that it could have been though that I think Julie was pregnant at the
Right.
time.
The time, yes.
And then also, so timing wise, that might have been an issue, but I doubt that it was that. I think Ryan also got a show. And those two also, like, I mean, could not be nicer people. Um, I think Hallmark has done a very good job of pairing, like, securing people to be part of their camp that are really good humans, like really good people, both of them super great people.
What you were also in Gilport Newport Mysteries, which say wasn't our favorite, but you were lovely in it, and we did
Oh,
give
my
you a
daughter was lovely in it.
we
My
did give
daughter
you a
was
shout
lovely.
out. In fact, that was our trivia that you were both in it. But
Oh,
we won't go into some of the. I think there were more decisions that were made that prevented it from being great. A whole other discussion. But how was it like playing a period piece? Look at you. You're now like
well,
sitting there in your brains going, "What was wrong with the movie? What was wrong with the movie?"
no, 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 no. I know lots of stuff that was wrong with it, in my own opinion. But okay, here's a fun fact. Okay. So being in a period piece, that's my thing. Like I've done tons of shows that are period pieces. Some of my favorite roles have been period pieces. Um, and also playing real people are my favorites. So now I got to play, I was Alice Vanderbilt,
Right.
based, the real woman who was married to the richest man in the world at the time, Cornelius Vanderbilt, and they built the breakers in Newport, Rhode Island. Well, fun fact, my daughter's father was so I was I he and I we split before she was born, but he's still here in her life and everything, and he's always had a part in her life. Um, he owned a house right on the same street as the Breakers in Newport, Rhode Island. So when I would go out to Newport with the baby, with Ava, um, till she was, I don't know, maybe three or something, 3.5, we would go out there, and I would go over to the breakers and I would walk around the grounds and I would sit in the gardens and I would talk to the staff. I spent dozens of hours in that real um, incredible on that estate that was built by the Vanderbilts in 1895 or 18 around there. And then I get to play the woman who actually was part of that. Was pretty special. Like, I mean, that was a weird kind of, they didn't know that when they cast us, but Ava and I spent dozens of hours on that real property in Newport, Rhode Island
That is fun
over the
fact.
beginning of her life. Yeah, that is kind of a fun fact, isn't it? And that was shot in Victoria
That's
at
gonna
Royal
say
Road.
right down the street from you,
At
right?
Royal Road. And my husband got his master's, I think, at Royal Roads. So yeah, it's funny.
Oh wait, that's a school?
It's a university, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. It's beautiful. I just shot there again with I don't know, maybe with Ryan Philippe.
Your most recent role, though, was Connie Mack and Hannah Swenson. We're talking our mysteries here. Which another one where you just got to be wonderfully crazy with that character. Tell us a little bit about being like, because you're also in there, you're walking into a set that they've been around, a family. You got Barbara and Allie who've just been doing this again and again, right? And you coming in and just joining that set. What was that? And then you get served this role, which is just awesome. Did you just get that by accident too, like your color
None
murder?
of them are by accident, Eric. I have earned every one of them. No, that one, I don't know. I think I auditioned for that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I auditioned for that. No, I'm sure I auditioned for that. But I need to say, so Kevin Leslie directed that. Do you know Kevin Leslie? Have you met him?
We haven't met him, but I know he's directed like a zillion.
Yeah.
You can put him in touch with us.
And he's also a producer of a number of these shows for Lifetime and for Hallmark and for others. And way back, he was an AD. We went out on a date one time, like 25 years ago. I'm not joking. But the place he took me for sushi on our date, it was just a lunchtime date. It was really nice. He was lovely. And we had worked together a few times on shows. Nothing, it was never romantic. It was just like a lovely lunch date. That's still my favorite sushi place in Vancouver. It's this hole in the wall that I was like, oh, this is
not into you, but I'm into the
delicious.
sushi.
It was the best. It was the best. But anyway, so yeah, those people, those women on that show, I mean the guys too, but the women on that show they're the real deal. They are what they lead the set the way that you would hope a set should be led. Allison Sweeney is so kind and so engaged and concerned about ensuring that your characters' choices are taken care of, fulfilled, whatever they happen to be. Barbara Niven could not be a kinder human and talented and so bloody funny. So it was lunch one day. We'd been filming, and I don't bring my cell phone to like set with me. It's always in a green room or it's in my trailer. I feel like then you're engaged with the people that you're working with rather than in your phone. Fine. It was just about lunch, and I am fixing hair or makeup or something in the green room. I look at my cell phone, which I don't like to do when I'm on set. There's a message that says waiting on an ambulance, and it's from my mom. And I go, oh my God, why would she do this? She knows she can't, she knows there's nothing I can do. I'm way out in Langley or Abbotsford, Langley, and they're North Van. I don't know what it's, if it's regarding my mom and somebody put, from my mom's cell phone. I don't know what it is. Anyway, long and short, I finish my scene. I come back. It's lunchtime. I call my mom's cell phone. My mom answers. She says, your sister was at the doctor and she started hemorrhaging. And so they've called an ambulance and she's in the hospital. They've given her 3 blood transfusions or something like that. And it's not good. And I was like, oh my God. Well, there are 2 things that are sure in this business, Eric, and that is, make plans and you'll have to change them. And secondly, like you don't get to leave set. You just don't get to leave set. It's just a thing. And I've been in this business long enough that my family knows if something horrible is happening, there's nothing I can do when I'm at work except ruin my ability to work, you know? Long and short, I guess Barbara Niven had heard me talking to my mom, even though I was trying to be quiet and I was trying to be, covert about it. Because about 20 minutes later, half an hour later, I'm in the green room. Allison Sweeney and Kevin Leslie come into the room and they go, "Can we clear the room, please? We need to talk to April." And I'm like, "Oh God, am I getting like what's happening?" Barbara had spoke to them and said, "There's something going on in April's family and I'm concerned." They came to me. They said, "Look, we don't know what's happening. We're not going to pry." And I said, "Oh no, I'll tell you." And they said, "Well, we want you to know, here's the end of the situation. We've spent 20 minutes working out a way that you can leave. We will still make our day. We've figured out the wording that we need to do for this scene. If you want to go, go, please." Eric, that doesn't happen ever. I said, like, especially if you're just like a guest star, like I'm just there for a few days. I was like, "Wait, what?" And they said, "No, we obviously, we'd prefer you to be in the scene, but if you need to go, we've worked it out. It'll work. Please go." And I said, "Okay, let's make a deal. I am going to try and do my job. I'm going to try and finish this job today and like do my job today and wrap properly. But if you see me flailing, tell me and I'll go. If I can do it, I'd like to do it. Let me try." And they said, "Deal." So I did it, and it's still in the movie. So I guess I did okay. But and I went to the hospital, and ultimately, I mean, she's now okay. But over the weekend, it got to a situation where she lost all her vitals. They couldn't find vitals. She'd lost so much blood. Her hemoglobin was like so low. The doctor said he'd never really seen anybody come back from that, but she's okay now. It was just that was a bad timing, and nobody ever on any show I've ever been on has been as generous as Allison and Kevin Leslie to like work it out, make it like finesse it so that I wouldn't have been missed if I wasn't in the scene, and to let me go if I needed to go. It was
Did,
incredible.
no, is that your last day of shooting, or do you have to come back and
No,
shoot
I
again?
no, I came back on the Monday. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were just amazing. But that was Barbara, was the one who like quietly went and told them that there was something happening. Amazing people, amazing people. I'm forever in a state of gratitude for them for that.
Now, we had Tess Atkins on recently, and
Oh,
while
she's so great.
she didn't have quite the same story, but she pretty much said similar things about how she's treated on that set between Barbara and Allison. So
And Lisa Drew too. She wasn't in, I didn't see her. I don't even know if she was in the episode that I was in, but oh yeah, I think she was. But Lisa, I love her. She plays the other sister, right?
right.
I love her.
Well,
She's
you've been
so
in a
great.
lot of things with her too, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her. We met on a plane going to LA randomly, and we had a layover in Seattle and we went shopping at Mac. We didn't know each other.
Sarah, did you know like you were both actors kind
We
of thing,
both
or was
knew
this
each other, like we had seen each other at auditions, but we didn't know each other.
okay?
And then we ended up having dinner and we became friends. Yeah. And she introduced me to Nikki. She introduced me to Nikki, and that's how, and then Nikki came and stayed at my house with her family for like 5 weeks.
5 weeks?
Yeah, we weren't there. We left.
Oh,
We
okay.
had,
I was
we
about
had
to
a
say,
really beautiful
yikes. There's
We had a beautiful home in North Van and with a pool and a hot tub. Like it was gorgeous. And it was during COVID and they needed a place to quarantine. So her and Ryan and the boys and their dog and the nanny and the nurse, they all came up and stayed at our house and we went camping and had the most epic summer ever. And yeah, it was good.
well, you certainly have great stories, so thank you very much. What do
I tell
you
them very long-windedly though, so I'm sorry.
I asked you, earlier, I said how all I've heard is how it's slowing down, and you said you're busy. So can you share anything that you've got coming up?
Yeah. So I shot an episode of Tracker just like a couple weeks ago. I think it's airing pretty soon. And I finished doing some like post and like little bit of like the sound work and stuff for Final Destination Bloodlines, which is Final Destination 6, which comes out in IMAX theaters on May 16th around the world. terrified. Oh, that's going to be like to see yourself in an IMAX theater. Like that's a lot. That's a lot. But that's very exciting also. And the same directors, Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein, who directed Final Destination, just cast me in. They wrote a part for me in the film that they're filming now. So I just shot that. So that's all just since January. So it's been a good beginning of the year for sure.
Very exciting. Are you in
I'm very glad.
any Hallmark things that even if you can't say what it is, are you
No,
No?
I don't think I've even auditioned for anything for Hallmark for a long time. And I didn't have a Christmas movie this year, which is first time I think in 15 years that I haven't had a Christmas movie out. I was very
Well,
upset. I mean, they always air, but
I am
you know,
seizing control of the network, so I will make sure that that slight does not happen again.
please, could you please, Eric, because I really love doing the Christmas movies. I would like that.
No problem.
Okay.
I have many times said I should have all executive decisions for the network.
It's a funny thing though, because like I didn't do one this year, but like I have been stopped 2 times on the ferry, one time going to Vancouver and one time coming back, by people going, "You're like, you're in those Christmas movies." It's like, oh my God, my ultimate goal is to get on one of the Christmas cruises, to get to be with like all those people and make
Seriously?
the gingerbread houses. Oh my God, yes. That would be heaven for me. Yes. You know how I like to talk.
Yeah, big cruise like that just to me
Oh, I
is
love cruising to begin with.
too little overwhelming, but okay.
That would be work, but I would love it. That's the kind of work I love.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It has been an absolute blast. I was hoping it was going to be a blast, and you did not disappoint. So
Oh,
thank
Eric,
you
you're so
very much.
sweet. You're lovely. I can't even tell you how nice this was. And thank you for asking me to do it. I'm really flattered. It means a lot.
Thank you for agreeing.
My God, any day, always, and forever. There's not enough hours in a day, though, for any of my stories.
Well, we loved them. Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Thank you for having me.